Hi, I'm Heinbach, and it's good to have you back. What I'm doing here is one of my favorite things about the new ADDAC system VC Looper and Granular Processor. I'm pitching down a recording of crickets, while at the same time pitching it up using the Granular engine. It is also very effective to try this on birds. I love the process of slowing down recordings because it reveals what is hidden. In both of these examples, I first pitched down on this little Nagra SN, and then I pitched down also on the looper. And then going up with the grains results in, to my ears, fantastic soundscapes. ADDAC Systems sent me the VC Looper to demo, as well as some other modules, and I'm so happy that they did, because this brings me back to university, where I studied granular synthesis. The VC Looper combines all the hardcore granular theory and practice with an interface that is both playable and open to basically limitless amounts of modulation. I like to play into it like I play with all my loopers, even Gauss, the one I designed with Brambos for iOS, by continuously overdubbing into a decaying loop. And the VC Looper has a loop decay knob for that. It feels like the machine is playing back, and I'm not alone in a room. I've got something that gives me more than an echo. It brings forth new harmonies depending on how I have set the different pitches here. And you can quantize them to different scales and then decide how you want the sound of the feedback that comes to you be. Do you want it to be cloudy, so you take a lot of grains? Or do you want it to be singular? Just take a few grains. Big chunks, small chunks, move them around, have them modulate in volume or forwards and backwards, or have them delayed or move them all around at once. It is a joy to have this much control. You can find this track on my Patreon, as well as hundreds more and a lot of sound packs. This module allows you to save your recorded loops and then step through them via control voltage or this knob, and it also allows you to save different presets and address them via this knob or via CV control. On the recording side, you get lovely controls like recording probability, so not everything that you do is recorded, only some parts, which again is very inspiring. Let me show you some basic functions. The signal part of the VC looper is input, loop, grains. So you can't feed from the input directly to the grains, you have to pass through the loop, which is something you have to get your head around first, but then it makes sense. So first I'm gonna set everything to the far left or middle. It's important to remember which does what. Volume has to be all up, direction to the right, and these three to the far left, with deviation set to nothing. This sets by how far the grains modulate around a certain parameter, for example the playhead or the length. No grains are active right now, and the window function that you see here, which is how the signal is sampled, is set to a square, but I could change that here. This will determine the texture that you're getting from the grains. This way it will be very sharp, this way it will be soft. Now grain pitch, set it to 0, and loop pitch, set it also to 0, so no change here. And grain panning is now in mono. And now let's see what we have here. A simple sequence from the Polygogo, my favorite oscillator in Eurorack of all time, I think. And now new recording. And play. Bring in the loop. Kind of reverse the loop. Turn on the original signal. And pitch down the loop. Now let's bring in the grains. I'm gonna set one grain to active. One. Let's pick this. Bring it in. Make it a bit wider. Can have it play in reverse. We can deviate it so it plays backwards and forwards. Now let's add more grains. And add more deviation. And more deviation to the length. Make the window a bit softer. And now let's pitch it up. Can move it around. Here we've got grain feedback, so the grains will feedback in themselves if recording is active. Let's pitch it down. And now we're starting to overwhelm it internally, which is something I love that it's possible. So get back on the feedback, bring it back. This makes me so happy, because this is stuff that I used to do in software back in the day, and now to have it all under control is amazing. Doing this in the computer has the big advantage of using a big screen. This is pretty tiny, but I can read it just fine from where I'm standing right now, which is a meter away. The big advantage to having a powerful granular engine in the modular is, of course, you can use CV control for everything. The pitch of the loop, the pitch of the grains, the position, all these things. This makes for a very haptic way of modulating and routing everything. One thing I like to do, especially when playing live into the looper, is using the grain trigger out to trigger things all around here. By now you might have gathered that I'm very happy about this module, and thank you ADDAC for trusting me with this. But is there something that I really don't like? Well, I never had a module where I submitted so many bug reports. But all of them turned out to be user error, because it is complex. It is a very pure way of doing granular synthesis, which I really enjoy. And it can get quickly overwhelming, especially if you start from one of the preset patches that are already here. So I would say just initialize it like I did in the beginning and start from there. Also, ADDAC didn't limit this module. The feedback that you can get internally will crush everything else, which I love, but that's also dangerous. So you have to be aware of that. But if you're willing to really get into the nuts and bolts of granular synthesis, this is amazing. I wouldn't hesitate to teach granular synthesis using this module. If you have any more questions, do leave in the comments below or visit the subreddit. And I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.